Hello and welcome to another Jeff Walker Books discussion. Today I'm going to talk about the ins and outs of being a self-published author. No more whining about that other stuff. It is still a big thing about that. Being a self-published author is beneficial. The point that you can create without pressure. But you have more control in whatever you're doing. But when it comes to working on computers, doing your books, how easy is it now that we can all use computers? Back in the day, the people had to write this down by hand and then type it all up on a typewriter, which, depending on your speed of typing, could take you forever. Or it could jam on you and ruin everything. Or, we've come a long way for these kind of things. I remember back in my high school time that word processing became the thing. That was typewriters with a little screen off to the side. So it was kind of like a pre-computer processing computer thing. Because all computers could really do, for the most part, back in the 20th century, was pretty much just programs, and you could type stuff up, but you couldn't really do the things that you do now, where you could publish an entire book on here with like software that could correct things for you, and so it's privileged now. Now we have privilege. The main thing I have an issue with is, I don't know about anybody else working on computers, but I have an issue with the updating of software. When it comes to software, I absolutely find that companies now have really taken advantage of the consumer. Mainly because, not all, I'm not going to say all, but major companies have, like Apple. Because I have a 2012 Apple computer. Mine still works fine. It's a MacBook Air. I'm recording on it right now, and it's still doing fine. Does it have a powerful camera? No, I don't really like using the camera anyway, just because I guess you could say I'm camera shy. I mean, I've got some videos up, and I still feel awkward and not very comfortable with my own look. But that's my own hang-up, I suppose. Even just trying to do a voice job here, doing the voice is hard for me. And I'm not one for... I'm not as well organized as some of these other authors. Trying to get their thoughts and, making it entertaining. I'm not really entertainer material. So I try my best, but I know I've got to get over this and work on it. And that's what self-publishing means too, because you have to learn how to address the public. You have to have an image, and you've got to you got to be personable. I mean, I'm personable, but I'm on camera. I'm just like frozen sometimes, just in thought. It's hard because sometimes the words I want to get don't come out fast enough, or they come out wrong. And, your brain goes a little faster than your body's doing to talking. So, yeah. And so, I had an issue with my Apple computer lately because of the operating system. Now, many of you who have Apple computers, older Macs like me from 2012 and below, you must know that it's frustrating when you're working on a program and it shuts down and it says that it cannot function because the operating system isn't there to support it anymore. You get so bitterly angry at this because the computer is technically still working at peak efficiency. But the operating system kills itself because it's programmed to do so by them to a point. And yes, you can get a patch for it. You can try to expand it, but that's at risk to you. And I can't take that risk for all the things that are on my computer. And I've had that happen before. I've had my computer plagued with malware, and I had to really have this computer cleaned out. Now it's working fine. Now it's working beautifully because of all that malware and spyware and whatever else is in there is finally out. I mean, there was a day when the Macintosh programs would not get any hacks at all because nobody could hack these things. Now, because the Apple is moving into third-party apps, and they've worked with Microsoft, and now people have found back doors, how to get in, and now it's just like, really, I have to go through all this again. But I know a lot of people prefer to use the PC tablets and stuff like that, and that's great for you. I was pretty much, I want to say I was raised on a Mac, but I pretty much know Mac from my graphic design days, so I'm pretty loyal, I guess. I just don't like having other computers to work on because I know what an Apple can do and what a PC can do, and I find Apple more user-friendly, to be honest with you. Not so much now. Now it seems like these guys don't know what the hell they're doing. I mean, I've got Catalina, which is the top operating system of 2019 or 2020 at least. And now Big Sur's come out, which is the name of their operating system. Go figure on the naming. It's stopped. It's just like I can't upload. And I'm like, why? My computer is perfectly fine. And then they say that you need this much memory. And I'm like, I got more than enough memory for that. And it, it's strange to me that they will cut off computers if they don't get to a certain point. Well, guys, you made these computers to last a long time. So I don't understand why you couldn't keep the operating system going until the computer itself was unfunctionable. Now, to estimate that this computer is no longer functional is a bit of a leap to my mind. I think what it is more of they want you to go get a new computer, which is eventually what I'd have to do. Like I said, yes, there are patches where you could run around that and try to upload it, but then they warn you that if you don't have the graphics card for it, or if you don't have the amount of space needed, of memory and your Intel processor isn't up to par, then it's not going to work. So you have to really research it. And I did, and I could patch it. But then there's a great risk, because if it doesn't take, everything you've on your computer is gone. Or you have to back it up and reprogram it again, or reboot it again with that program you saved. And I don't feel that's necessary. I don't think you should have to kowtow to these guys to get a new operating system. My God, that's holding people hostage. And, if it doesn't do it, then it doesn't do it. But mine should be able to do it because, to be honest, I haven't got that much on here. So it seems like a catch-22, really. I could upload it and risk my computer's life, or I could just, buy another computer. But, an Apple computer is not cheap. Not cheap at all. When I bought this computer, it was too damn expensive. And I regretted buying it at the time. My wife was just in labor. She was off work. I was only just starting my job, and we were barely scraping by. We're still kind of scraping by now because she's had issues and she's no longer able to work. And so we're just trying to get by again. And it's like, all I've got left is the computer I've been given. And I really can't afford to get a new computer. And I really don't want to take the chance of trying to patch this and it goes south. So what do? I could take it to a computer guy to do it for me. Unfortunately, that's another risk, because you don't know what that person's like. You don't you're not sure about what they can do. I mean, if there's any computer guys that understand what I'm going through here, let me know. I am just at a loss, because this to me happens every single time with Apple. I mean, they really do like to get a stranglehold of people. And I mean, like, look at the phones. Oh my gosh, like, we're up to what now? 12, 13, 14, 18, 20, what? I mean, mine's still 8, of all things. And it works fine. It's still good. There's no problem with my phone. And yet now it's considered obsolete. So you tell me how this technology's going here. We're at the mercy of these companies now who demand us to do all this stuff. I really don't know what to do. And as a self-publisher, this is frustrating for me, because what do I do? The programs I have on here will eventually need to be updated, and they won't be able to update because my operating system isn't matching what they have to update to maintain it. So, yeah. So when you go on a computer, it's important that you get all this this stuff that you need. The operating system is important. So I'm at a loss of what to do now, because I could still use my computer, but I wouldn't be able to update programming, which might be a problem down the road, because if I don't update where I have to upload my books, they might not take. So that becomes a problem. This is the problem that a lot of self-publishers have to deal with. Is their computers? Is their the apps they get? Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I had Photoshop for a while. And I miss the days when Photoshop was on a disk and you could load it up. Because then you wouldn't have to be at the mercy of their streaming, whatever the heck this is now, this software you have to get in the cloud. I hate it. To be honest with you, I don't like that they dictate to you when and how you get your programming. Because now you're paying them monthly or bi-monthly, and it's like, wow, what a cash grab. Like, really? Like, there was a time when you could make the computer program and be done with it for a couple of years until you needed a new one. Now it seems like it's like every month you've got to get a new section, a new update. So is this a gripe? Probably is. I just wanted to let you know that, when you're a self-publisher, you have to deal with things that come up. There's life problems. You've got a job to go to and do that. Now you got your computer issues, which is never ending sometimes. Like I said, my computer got taken over by some malware, and that really hindered, and it deleted one of my stories, which really devastated me, because then I had to rewrite the whole thing again. So protection is key. But like I said, now I have the protection on here, and it might become obsolete until I get my new operating system. So I don't know. I'm not a computer guy. I have what I have. I'm not tech savvy. I mean, I used to be back in my day, but now I'm getting older, obviously. Which is funny how the technology just keeps ramping up, and we're just getting left behind. So, yeah, my beef is with Apple, really. I have a laptop that I need. This is my lifeline. Now I can't live without this laptop. You have iPads and whatever, but my storage and my work is on this laptop, which is vital to what I do. It would be devastating to lose it. And like I said, I guess I'd have to get a new computer, but I'd have to somehow find someone that was cheap enough, or as cheap as Mac will go for these things, or I could buy another laptop. But then I'm not used to the PC. I don't entrust them. They're so easy to be hacked. It's just unbelievable. My wife's computer was hacked several times, apparently. So, yeah. I just wanted to let you know that this is part of the problem with that self-publishers have to go through. More so with editing and, there's the pro writing software. There's the Vellum I use. Vellum's, if I can't keep up with Vellum, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I love Vellum. Vellum has been the blessing. It's the all-in-one I've been looking for since the beginning. I started my, back in 2011, I was doing it on Quark. And Quark wanted me to update from their cloud system, which was outrageously priced. Which I was like, no way. And then I tried going on some of those like Lulu or what's that other one? Oh man, the Bookwrite program that they use to upload for books there, and they'll format it for you, but their formatting on there is so confusing, and it's just not very friendly. Not very friendly at all. I got frustrated with that thing. And then, of course, you had to update with that one. If you didn't have the proper update, then you couldn't really use it. So then I tried to use Word, but Word wasn't formatting, or wasn't, you have to know how to, be able to do all that. And I couldn't afford an editor. I couldn't afford to hire an editor to do all that for me, for formatting. So when Vellum came along, fantastic. I can't praise it enough. It's been a godsend. There was Scrivener, which is it's like an all-in-one thing too, because it can do scripts and it can do books and short stories. But I found it really odd to work. It got to a point where when it was updated enough that I could see, oh, that's how you upload it. But I still didn't understand how it would format properly, and it was very hard to, unless you don't know how to navigate it, it's very hard to do. So I like Vellum better. So my word of advice would be, if you find a program you like to write and you know how to do certain things and it's easy for you, go and do it. I find Vellum easy just to write and do everything on. I could write it in Word and then transfer it over to Vellum so that it would format them instantly. And that's nice. It's a nice feature to have on there if you're more familiar with Word and then you want to upload it to Vellum to format into a trade novel or a 6x9 book. It's fairly easy. I feel like I'm promoting them too much, but I can't. There's other writers out there too that have got it. Love it. So if you're interested in writing a book, I'd say pay the full price for Vellum and just play around with it. And it's amazing. You can change the text. You can change. They've got options on there for quotes and stuff like that, and they can line up a chapter for either a prologue or an epilogue or a forward and all that, and it's fantastic. So that would be my advice, to get that. So yeah, self-publishing problems. That's what I'm having too. Right now, that's my biggest problem. More so of just writing. I'm trying to get back into the swing of things. I've started writing Outer Red Part 4, halfway through that. I said before that I was halfway through a few stories. The sequel, prequel of Long Lost War. I have to get back on that one at some time. I said it was 80%, but I'm more like 70, almost 70, I think. And the Professor Dark and Miss Shadow, book 1. I'm still in the depths of that one. Taking more time than I thought, only because now I don't have the time to write it. I mean, I could make time. I mean, I have to make time. But I've had so many stories in my brain that I have to get out, like short stories and whatever. So I get a little sidetracked, and that's the problem. And as a self-publisher, you tend to do that. Whereas where you're in publishing, you're on a tight timetable. And that'd be great if I could just quit my job and focus on this full time. No problem. But, you got to pay the bills. So how do you get paid while you're doing this? Not an easy task, not unless your book's doing very well. And I wish to gosh my books were still doing so well. I mean, I've had a good reviews, and I'm astonished at how it's not spreading word. Like, I mean, I've had a lot of good comments about all my works. Some not so much on some other ones, but like enough that I should be selling more. I mean, it's hard when you can't spend the money for advertising. I mean, I've tried here and there, but I just don't understand the whole marketing of it. And it's strange because I used to be in like a marketing kind of thing, but now it's changed so much. I don't understand. I get comfortable on Twitter, so I usually shout out a lot of stuff on Twitter, and on Facebook sometimes on my Facebook pages. There's so many clubs though, and so many Facebook groups that it becomes a little daunting sometimes. That you sit there and you go, well, I don't have the advertising budget to make it shine like it should and attract. And you try your best, and that's all you can do is really try your best. When you're self-publishing, you got to try your best. I mean, you really got to sell yourself, and I understand that. I'd like to do more interviews, absolutely. I'd like to see more reviews of my book. If you've bought my book, please leave a review. It does help. I mean, the Long Lost War really took off for a while there, and now that everybody's back from the COVID and they're trying to get back into some normalcy, and the summer started. Things have slowed down considerably, and they always do in the summer months. Writers tend to, complain that their books aren't doing well, and it's usually because it's summertime. Summertime, people are outdoors. They're not indoors. They're not, trapped. Last year was probably a good time for writers getting their books out. I did a lot more when we had a full shutdown, because then I had time to write a number of books that I could get out. I could finish my one book that was my actually full novel was Your Service is Required. That was great. I could do all that. And now it's become harder. I have a few on Audible, and I wanted to do Your Service is Required as an Audible, but it costs so much money to hire a voice actor. Now, I would love to get certain voice actors, but then I know I'd be like really ramping up the price on that. And unfortunately, if you can't afford it, you can't do it. And that's become my motto of late, because if I can't afford it, I can't do it. I'd love to get the third installment of Outer Red as an Audible, but I just don't have the budget for it. I was doing very well for a while there. I had a lot of books getting up there, but after a while you realize they're too short, and as they get bigger and bigger, it costs more and more. The productions cost more and more. I could read it myself, but I don't do well reading, and I know I have to because I'm the publisher and I'm the writer, and I'm going to have to eventually be in front of people one day and start reading my books or chapters or doing interviews, which is why I said I should do more interviews. I've done a few interviews online where they've asked me questions and I've answered. Over at Indie Reader Reviews, and a blog that was I helped put my book word, my, see, I'm really bad at it. Trying to get the word out is hard for me, I guess. But I would encourage everybody that if you like the book, yes, please, shout it, tell everybody that you can. And that's what self-publishers would like you to do, is to spread the word as much as possible. We give out free books, and that's great and everything. And there's no argument that free books do help. But we can't keep giving out free books, because then how are we supposed to make a living? If we love the craft, we'll do it. And I love the craft. Some people just write books to make the money. I'm still cranking out books even though I'm not making the money, which shows that I love to write. And I love to write science fiction, and I love to write science fiction fantasy, paranormal weird stories kind of thing. Horror sometimes, but I'm not really that big into horror. So I probably will stick to the science fiction fantasy. But for the most part, I like to delve into like the paranormal as well. With Professor Dark and Miss Shadow, they delve into that world and other avenues. I look at them as the X-Files of Doctor Who and Batman. I compared it to all three, and my wife kind of looked at me weird, and I said, "Yeah, it's a hard thing to describe what Professor Dark and Miss Shadow is. I know how it's going to end, and I know what the revelation will be for most of them, but I'd like to keep it a mystery as long as possible. And some people wanted me to solve it right away by giving out their origin, and I'm like, well, that's boring. Did you know the Doctor's origin right away when he came out? No, it was a mystery, and everybody loved it. They didn't know who he was, where he came from. They gave hints every now and then, but nothing solid. So it was still that air of mystery, which I loved. And I think that's what Professor Dark and Miss Shadow are like. They're my greatest mystery that you will have to solve eventually. So they've got their book 0 out, and some stories to tide everybody over until I get the other book out and I'm working on that. But first, like I said, I gotta get the last part of Outer Red out, which is in the works, and I'm cranking down on it. And I already sent out a notice that I'm working on a book for the 2022 of Send in the Dead. That will be a science fiction horror for sure, dealing with prisoners that are sent to the front lines to fight a war that really nobody's going to be able to win. So it's just they're being coined as the dead. So they have a fate, but there's a twist to that fate, and I won't say what it is until I'm done writing the book, which I've only started a few chapters already, trying to get a feel of where I'm going to take the story, but generally I know what the story is going to contain. Generally I know where the story is going to end. My process is go as you write kind of thing. So yeah, that's what I'm working on right now. And what I wanted to just stress was that when you're a self-publisher, things are hard, very hard. And you might want to take that into consideration before starting. This is my advice to anybody that wants to self-publish. Think about it first. Think about what you need to do. Think about how you're going to go about it. And think about the kind of tools you'll need. The laptop. Will it last you a good number of years before you have to update it? Can you afford certain advertising? I wish I had all this information a long time ago. I mean, it was barely enough information about it. Now you can find it anywhere because everybody's self-publishing. When I started, it was just in its infancy. For some reason, I'm always getting into something that's just in its infancy, and I am well in my depths by then. When I was in graphic design, I was still drawing it all by hand with some computer help. But as the years progressed and I lacked the technical know-how, I, like I said, the technology went beyond me. I couldn't figure it out. So I came out at a time when this was bad for me. So here I am again. I'm a self-publisher, in the sea of many other people raising their books up. So I'm the one lone voice in the sea of many. And I need your help in boosting my titles, boosting my my identity, if you will. I will continue to write, no matter what. I will continue to push out titles and complete them, no matter what. I really just like to write. And if you're a self-publisher, that's what your love should be. Because if you just want to write a one-booker and get a traditional publisher and think you'll get all these, rave reviews and all this stuff and tons of ads, great. But in the end, if you're just a one-book person, you won't last. Those that want to keep writing, despite not reaching fame and fortune, those ones will be the ones that people remember the most. Sure, fame is great. Sure, getting the attention is wonderful. I see it all the time on Twitter. Some of these books are getting like high praise, lots of reviews. But who paid for those reviews? Because some of those services were paid. And you can tell, and I can tell. And there's been some on there. I've been amazed at their strategy, how they went about. But then most of them don't have children. You're right. Most of them are retired, or they've had a job where they've made lots of money, so they can afford it. But if you're a struggling guy like me, who's just working day by day, trying to get his ideas out there, it's hard, and it's a hard life. And I want to stress that it would be a hard life. And writing is equally hard for parents, for people that have day jobs. I've seen people come on complain, how do you get one chapter? And I said, you just do it. You get as much as you get done in a one weekend, and then you try for another weekend. Or you find a time to write down a few paragraphs and remember where you were, or write down it on a card, and, that's my advice. So self-publishing is a hard task. But more so if your computer can't stay updated. So we're circling back again. I don't know how much more I can stand Apple's decision making here. I used to love Apple, but now I've grown disenchanted with them. I've lost faith in their company, to be honest with you. So, will I be able to keep this up? I don't know. Somehow, along the way, I'm going to have to get on their computer, and that sucks because this is a perfectly good computer. I don't know why I would have to do it. And I don't want to patch it because I don't want to screw anything up, because I'm not that wise on how to do that sort of thing. So we'll see for the time being. And that's my little rant, I guess, for today. It wasn't really a discussion, more of a rant. Like I said, I'd be willing to do more interviews with anyone. And I hate to sound like I'm begging, but I'm not. I'll do whenever somebody asks, or I'll go and look at a blog and see if I can guest speak on there or something. For the time being, that's what I'm doing. And as a self-publisher, that's what you got to do. So that's it for me today. Take care.